Hey, this is Scott. Welcome to my channel. Today's a simple oil change on a 2011 Dodge Ram 1500, but specifically it's on the 5.7 liter HEMI. I don't know if any of you guys use Rhino ramps, but these things are starting to drive me crazy, where like I pull up on them and then they scoot out in front of me, and pull up on them and they scoot out in front of me. And when I flip them over, I mean, the rubber thing seems fine, but they still just squirt out all the time. I have to do it like 5 or 6 times. So if anyone has any tips on that, please throw them in the comments, because I don't know how to solve that problem. Okay, so I drove the truck up on the Rhino risers, put jack stands underneath, so should be good to go that way. And the first thing that I really want to accomplish before I start draining any oil is to get the oil filler cap out. I actually have to go up on a ladder, because once I have this up in the air, I can't even reach the oil filter. I'm sorry, the oil cap, filler cap, I should say. And I always put the cap where the hood latch is, just to remind me if I forget to put the cap on to when I close the hood, it won't close properly. So it's just a good reminder place. All right, now I gotta get under there and drain the oil, get the old filter out, and go from there. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is pull the drain plug out. And just to give you a perspective of where it is, you got a crossbar, cross member right here for the front suspension, and kind of sits back here. This is the transmission pan, so it's closer to the front of the vehicle. It's pretty obvious. This is a 13mm drain plug. So we're going to get this loosened, okay, with that 13mm, and then make sure the oil's going to come flying out of here. So I have a drain pan sitting right here that you can see, but I gotta make sure it's lined up, because it's gonna shoot out quite a ways. So this is always a bit of a guessing game. And we'll take it out by hand and hope I guessed right. And I did. Going right into the pan. And then the way I do this is, when you first pull the plug, the oil comes out with the most velocity, shoots the furthest out, but then it's going to start dripping. And so I'll slowly move the pan so that it's squarely underneath where the oil is coming out. That way we're good to go. So I'm just going to let this drain for a while, and then I'll come back. So while the oil is draining, I just wanted to show you the oil plug. This is the OEM one. You can see it has a rubber kind of gasket built in. As far as I know, this doesn't require a crush washer. Since I've had it, I bought it used, it didn't have a crush washer, and I have not used one. I've never had a problem with a leak, but it has sort of this rubber part built in. I imagine if that gets damaged, you just got to replace the whole oil drain plug. Okay, so it's just dripping at this point, so that's full enough for me right now. And time to just put the oil drain plug in, tighten it by hand, and then we'll come back here in a sec with the socket and ratchet, and we'll tighten it down a little bit. Okay, so now we'll tighten it a little bit. So right there is sort of hand tight, and then I'll turn it just a hair more. So you don't want to over tighten it, or you'll never get the thing off and you'll have problems. Next up is the oil filter. Now the oil filter is in, you have to go forward from where the oil pan was. And I have a Fram filter in there, which I hate. I shouldn't have put a Fram in there. But that's the filter. I don't know how to get this out without making a mess. You can see that I've spilled oil all over everything in here in the past. But you just got to reach your hand up, twist it, and as carefully as you can, lower it down without leaking oil all over. But the reality is it'll run up your arms. Okay, so I've tried to center the pan, the catch pan underneath this. And now I will spin the filter, and it's leaking oil already, and it's going down my arm. Spin it as quick as I can. Ah, what a freaking mess. That's the best we could do. Okay, so here's what I'm going with for the 2011 Ram 1500. Going with Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic, the 5W30. I'm using the Napa Gold filter, $78.99. I'm told it's made by Wix. Don't know if that's 100% true, but has good ratings, so that's what I'm putting in this thing. Okay, I threw the old filter in the new box, and what I'm going to do is just take some oil from that filter, put it on the gasket for this filter, just to make sure that I've lubricated it so it doesn't get stuck next time. And then I'm going to pre-fill the filter, at least partially, and try to weave it up into the truck and screw it on. All right, so I'm gonna pre-fill this filter, and hopefully this will go okay. All right, so this thing is all filled with oil, so I gotta try to keep it as level as possible. It's hard to do with one hand. Now you can see it up there, and I'm just going to give it a couple of turns, tighten it a bit, just by hand. All right, now I just got to clean up where all this oil dripped. It's also important to note that the book says this should be taking 7 quarts. So I'm going to put, 6.5 in, and then I'll start testing it. But from empty, it should be taking 7 quarts. Okay, so now that I've changed the oil, I need to turn off the oil change light. So the easiest way, well, let me show you the oil change light. So if I start my truck right now and the Ram screen pops up, I go to the normal screen, and then it will blink over to oil change due. Well, we don't want it to do that anymore. Okay, the way to change that is to turn your key to the on position, which is 2 notches. At least on my truck it's 2 notches. And let it cycle through the screens until the oil change light comes on. Should just be a sec. Okay, now just with your foot, hit the gas pedal to the floor once. Hit the gas pedal to the floor twice. Hit the gas pedal to the floor 3 times. And then turn off the screen. Now let's see if it will turn on. It did not come on. Of course, I have tire pressure I need to pump up, but apart from that, it did not come on. So that's what I wanted.